Oh, I'm sorry. Did I break your concentration?
Somewhere between science and superstition.
We have such sights to show you.
Strange Eons. Welcome to Strange Eons Radio. That's Eric over there.
Hello.
That is Vanessa over there.
Hello.
I'm Kelly. Vanessa,
Yeah.
after being publicly humiliated on the show just 2 episodes ago, you decided to double down and come late today.
Go big or go home.
The best part is, listener, she did as she promised and left us a very apologetic message, which you will be able to hear during the break.
Oh my God. It is my penance. I accept it.
Cool. Good times.
Eric walked in while I was playing it, and he just started busting up laughing. He could tell exactly what was happening. I had a gigantic grin on my face. I was like, this is gold.
The sad thing is I started to do it, and I didn't realize if you tap it twice, it does a video. And I was like, what is going on right now? And I realized it was sending a video of me to you. And then I stopped it and I quickly erased it because it was literally me just staring at my phone dumbfounded, and then did my actual apology. So
I like
that
it.
would have been okay.
No, it wouldn't have.
Eric,
Yes.
you did something cool this last week, and I want to hear about it.
I did. Dana and I went to the Van Gogh experience in Seattle. Which, how to word this right? I'm a Van Gogh fan. I enjoy his stuff. I've seen one of my favorite experiences ever in a museum was with a Van Gogh piece where we were in Vegas at the Bellagio, where they have their fine art exhibit, and nobody was there.
Oh my gosh.
So I'm sitting there looking at Van Goghs, and I could get as close as I want.
Yay.
Because they really didn't provide a lot of cushioning or as far as away as I want. But I don't know tons about him.
So you threw a bunch of flour on the picture and glued your hands to the wall next to
I
it?
didn't do that, no. The exhibit has some really, really cool shit and some bizarrely amateuristic stuff. The cool stuff, well, do the amateur stuff first because it's not as interesting, is they did reproductions of the prints, of course, and this is just a warehouse space that they turned into this exhibit thing, so they didn't have any Van Goghs.
Of course.
But they had reproductions of them, and some of them were just awful.
Oh.
I think you could have worked a little harder on making sure you get, because one of the distinctive things about Van Gogh is his painting is he uses a shit ton of paint. His paintings are deep, and the movements have a lot of waves in them, and those waves aren't just it's not just like if you drew a wave with a pencil, it's thick.
It's a brush stroke.
Yeah, the paint is really, really thick. And these look so flat sometimes. Some of them look really good, but some are like, Jesus, man, this is really bad. But you go in and they've got history stuff. And I turn around a corner and there's a giant head of Van Gogh with pieces being projected over it. It's kind of cool looking. And then there's another one where they took all of his flower paintings and melded them together into this changing image where it would a wave would come by and one would erase and the other one would go into its place. It was really interesting stuff. And they had a little history video about him and his painting. If you just zip through this, you're going to think it's really stupid. But if you sit down and go through it, it's really interesting. And the next room over had the famous painting of the room that he did where everything's sort of off kilter because he was trying to create a flat image of a 3D place. That's why it's weird looking. They built it.
Oh, jeez.
So that room is there and you can walk into the space they made with it and stuff. It's kind of fun. And there's another, they did that with I wasn't familiar with this painting, but it's an archway that he did someplace and they built that. So they had these interesting things. The main exhibit though, the main thing is this huge room, which is all 4 walls are projected on. And they just do a series of things where they make his paintings move. And the like Starry Night was incredibly powerful, where it just has these wild the swirls in the
Right.
sky are turning and mixing around, and he's got a funny little one where there's water and pouring into a bucket, so they have water pour out of it and stuff. It's very weird,
Hmm.
but it was really neat. It's about a if you sit for the whole thing, I think we were sitting there for about half an hour, 40 minutes for the
Okay.
whole presentation. Drama confession time. One of the main things I did with my mom, she worked in museums for 30 plus years. So going to a museum with her was a very different experience because she go, oh, look at the art. Oh, how did they hang this? So it'd be because she was the curator of collection. So it'd be a combination of both. She would have fucking loved this. Because one of the big things they did at the Harriet Center in Twin where she worked was educational. And this was a really interesting way to get people who probably may not be that interested in Van Gogh and still paintings and all that. Oh, what's the big deal? To see what art critic means when they say the painting moves. The painting has an animation to it because they said, well, screw it, here it is. This is what you can see. And so that was really neat. That was really cool. I liked that moment of feeling that. Then they had a 3D thing, which we didn't do. The VR
Mm.
goggles. And then, of course, they had a gift shop.
Oh,
And the gift shop had some really interesting Van Gogh stuff and Santa Claus.
Oh,
what? Still?
Yeah, all the Santa Claus shit.
Oh my God.
So it's not terribly expensive. I think it's like $22 or $23 a ticket. And I would say if you have any interest in art, and this is a traveling thing, goes all over the country. It comes to your area. They also do Monet and they do a Star Wars one. But if you're interested at all, I'd say definitely check it out. It's really fun.
well, that sounds very cool. And you said that's here for a couple more weeks here in downtown Seattle.
I believe it's through sometime in February. It'll end.
Was it well attended while you were there, or?
Well, we went at a weird time. We were like at 4 o'clock on a Thursday.
Oh, okay.
Mm.
There was like 8 people
Right.
in the big room. Oh, I forgot. You also get to color a Van Gogh piece if you like. And they'll
Oh.
scan it and put it up on this screen and sort of alter it a little bit to make it look like a framed art piece. It's like,
Oh my gosh.
it was dumb, but a lot of fun.
Oh, that's cool. That sounds fun.
Aw.
See, everybody, Eric's not as stupid as you call in and say.
Oh my God.
I'll try harder.
Oh,
See if I can get myself to Animal House Bluto level here
There you
someday.
go. There you go. You guys, I went to a movie in the theater just last night.
oh my God.
Whoa.
I saw Babylon.
Oh,
okay.
how was it?
It is over the top of ridiculous. The first 2 acts were maybe the most fun I've had in a theater in years.
Wow.
And then the third act is a real bummer. And I was like, this doesn't fit with everything that was going on here.
Mm.
This is the same director that did La La Land. This is not as good as La La Land, but it's also 3 hours long.
Oh my God.
Fuck,
Damn you.
Vanessa,
Yeah.
Eric, both of you are much, much younger than me.
Oh, yeah.
And when you get to my age, you start to value time.
Sure.
You're like, hey, 3 hours. This really could have been 88 minutes and I would have been thrilled. 3 hours means there's at least one bathroom break
Sure.
during the film.
Yeah.
And it was just too long. But it was crazy up until I started to not like it.
Is
So,
it? Oh, go ahead.
so is it, I mean, is it good? Because the trailer looked like nonsense. It's just like confetti coming out of a cannon.
That is how the movie is as well. It does have
Okay.
3-act structure. It is a
Okay.
very common story. I was watching it. I was like, well, Jesus, this is really just a retelling of Singing in the Rain, which
Okay.
is one of my favorite films.
Mhm.
And I was happy to see at the end that they make a very big nod to Singing at the Rain. So to make it known that, yes, that is what we did, was make this
Oh,
movie.
okay.
So that it's not nonsense, but it is so much of
Yeah.
everything. I thought Brad Pitt was fantastic. I thought Margot Robbie was fantastic, but I don't know why you would cast Samara Weaving in a movie with Margot Robbie because they were playing opposite in a couple of scenes, and I thought it was Margot Robbie playing both characters. I was like, "Oh, this is an interesting choice."
Weird. Huh.
So there's stuff like that, I really appreciate what the guy was trying to do, which was basically tell a story from the beginning of the film age to, talkies coming in, and then, at the end, uh, spoiler alert, there's a literal clip from Avatar in it, and that kind of dragged me out of
What
the
the
film.
hell?
What?
It goes crazy,
Okay. Oh
but
my
it's
gosh.
a history of film.
Okay.
So
Huh.
yeah,
Oh
I
my
I don't know
Jesus.
if you need to see it in the theater, but I did.
I'm so proud you went into the theater.
It was packed too, so I was just like, "Yeah, God." But everybody was quiet, and it was one of the nicer theaters that serves food and all that.
Oh,
So that
good.
seems to be a better
helps.
crowd than
It is. It's usually 21 and over too.
exactly.
Yep.
Yes.
hmm
That being said, there were a couple of old couples there. Let me just say, this is a very horny movie. There is
Yeah.
a lot of nudity, a lot of fucking going on, a lot of bodily fluids, and
Oh
before
God.
the title card of the film comes up, you have seen an asshole spread open and spray shit, and a woman piss in a guy's mouth. This is before the title card Babylon comes on the screen.
Oh my God.
So,
Whoa.
I was watching this older couple in front of me, and the woman, she didn't seem like she was having as good a time as I was.
Oh God.
Wow, the boys are just spreading their ability to show everything to all the films.
Oh, geez, Louise. Oh, yeah, of
She was
course.
just still working on
Sorry.
Kelly's last visual there.
Yeah, I'm really taking it all in. It's like early for me to be considering any of this. So I also went and did kind of a weird event, Eric.
Yes.
In the climate change arena downtown.
Sure.
I went for my husband's birthday to AEW Dynamite.
I don't know what
Sounds
these are.
familiar. Is
Do
it a
you guys
gaming thing?
do you guys remember WWF? And
Oh, yes. Okay. Yeah.
yeah,
Oh.
Yeah, I saw a lot of people
eventually
posting about that.
yeah, they eventually had to rename it because the actual World Wildlife Foundation was like, nope. Yeah, so it was fun and weird. There's a lot of men, obviously wrestling, big wrestling event, attacking each other, and they start off slow with guys who suck at it, and they slowly get into guys who've been doing it a long time, and eventually you get to a point where a man puts up like a really tall ladder,
Ah.
like a 2 or 3 story ladder, and then gets up to the top and jumps off and lands on a guy, and that's great. But at some point, it was 4.5 hours long. The seats are not that comfortable. I was like, could it please end now? It was fun,
But you only need the edge.
oh my God.
That's right. That's right.
I think at some point I needed more than the edge. There were a lot of moments where I was like, oh my God, that man is bleeding a lot. Like, I mean, you know how much of this is faked, especially when they start off with the guys who suck, because when they throw their punches, it's like 1.5 foot before they hit the guy, and the guy's like, oh, my face. And you're like, theater at its best, guys. Theater at its best. But,
so WWE is no longer a thing. This is AEW. Is that what's going on?
AEW. I don't know if WWE exists. I am not up on the W-verse.
Right.
But
Boy, if Matt is listening to this episode, he will definitely let us know everything.
Matt's not listening to this. Did I ever tell you the time that Eric took me to, was it WrestleMania?
Yeah.
Eric took me to
Full-on
WrestleMania. We got to see The Rock.
Mhm.
Whoa.
And did he fight Hogan?
Yeah, I think it was The Rock and Hogan where they did like
Whoa.
a stalemate thing or something like that.
Yeah.
Wow.
The best part was there was some guy in front of us who was very invested in this fight.
Yes.
And he was screaming at The Rock, or I don't know who, but he was just furious and everything. And Eric leans over and he goes, Jesus, did The Rock rape that guy's mom? It seems very personal.
It's like, did he put money on it? Because if so, he should not have.
Yes.
It is not real, people.
That way, yeah, it was weird too because it was Safeco, well, now T-Mobile Park.
Right.
And, so you're not close, at least for us.
No.
But at least they used the screens well.
Right.
But yeah, that's fun.
It was
The
fun.
first wrestling thing I went to was at Old Key Arena,
Mhm.
and I didn't realize there were these house shows, which aren't filmed. they bring out the people that they're training and
Oh,
getting
the
going.
the
Yep.
undercard.
Yeah, so I was like, this is really weird. There's no cameras. There's virtually no signs. What is this?
Hmm.
But yeah, I had a huge wrestling thing for like the Attitude Era, like the late '90s, I think is what it was. And
It's definitely weird coming in with like not knowing who any of these people are,
Yeah,
but
that would be weird.
everyone there does, and they've
Uh-huh.
got like signs ready to go, and they come in with like multiple signs so that if that match happens to occur, they can pull out the appropriate sign in the appropriate moment. And everybody around me was like standing up. The intros are like the big thing.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone's like the intros are where it's at. I'm just sitting there like, oh, I feel very lost. And every once in a while, my friend would kind of lean over and go, okay, so this guy's this guy, and this guy's local, and blah, 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 blah. I'm like, okay, all right, cool. Match happens. All right. But yeah, they also had the local things where it was live TV for parts, and then they would count down and have everyone be like excited again because the TVs had, it had
right,
started,
right.
the feed had started again. And it was like, oh, okay.
Nice.
Good
Weird.
times.
Yeah, that puts the Breaking Glass intro sound right into my head from that era. That's
Sure,
Steve's.
sure. I'm assuming everybody was masked up for this event.
Clearly.
Yeah, of course.
Clearly. Yeah. Ooh. I did take a COVID test last night and I'm fine. So don't you guys worry.
Oh, okay, cool. Okay, so movies. I watched a film called Some Like It Rare.
Oh.
This is
No.
a French
No.
film about a butcher shop that gets one of those vegan attack things at the beginning where they throw paint on stuff and do annoying shit. And then they discover they're going under because they're not making any money. It had nothing necessarily to do with the attack. They're already going under. But they discover through a weird series of events that vegan people taste really, really good.
Oh, weird.
So they start serving what they call Iranian ham
Oh my God.
and, saving their butcher shop. And then they have to figure out, well, are we going to really continue to do this? And this fun little shit, like their daughter starts dating a vegan and she's becoming a vegan. It's an incredibly well done little French film. Very funny. It's definitely done for laughs
Oh.
and well worth checking out.
Nice. Is this a Shudder film?
You would think, but I'm pretty sure it's Amazon.
Okay.
But I wouldn't be surprised if it's on Shudder because that's them right now.
That's funny. A film that I know Vanessa has seen. I don't know if you have, Eric, but it's now out on HBO Max, I believe. I saw The Menu.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's on the must-watch list, but I haven't seen it yet.
I loved it until one of the very last scenes,
Mhm.
which I didn't feel was earned at all.
Oh,
And I was happy because I'd started it and I reached out to Eric and I was like, this better not be just another cannibal movie, which is what I thought it was going to be. And it turns out to not be anything like that. And I didn't expect it to be so funny.
Mhm.
And I had a good time with it.
I'm so glad.
What about you? I don't remember how you felt.
I think I felt like it was okay. Like I wasn't super blown away by a lot of it. I think I felt like it felt like it was smarter than it was at times, but overall had a really nice sense of humor throughout.
Yeah.
I don't think it was doing anything groundbreaking, but I did enjoy the ride a lot. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
I thought between this and Violent Night, Leguizamo has had a good year.
He's having a Leguizamo
A Leguizamo sense.
there you go.
He's really coming back.
I've never really cared for him, and I liked him very much in both of these films.
He's been great in both.
Yeah.
Great in both.
Cool.
Absolutely.
Did you want a burger afterwards? I've heard that's a big thing.
A
of
really
people that are-
good.
It's almost all I eat, so it's not a big
not
deal that I
problem
wanted a
there.
burger.
I didn't, but I can see why people would. Absolutely. Well, I saw season 2 of Alice in Borderland.
Oh, I keep forgetting to watch that.
Oh shit. Yeah, it's I would say I kind of wish I had rewatched season 1 because I do not remember and they do not help you.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
They're just like, here's this person. Woo. And you're like, wait, who are you again? I don't remember.
Yeah.
There was
What was your overall thought on this season?
I really liked it. I really liked it. But it is like the end. Like there's nothing else is gonna happen after this.
I mean, there could be the way they ended it, but
Really?
you didn't see the cards fly off the table at the very end?
Well, yeah, yeah, but that doesn't mean anything.
No, but it revealed a card that none of us had thought
That's
about.
true. There is a card that yeah, I felt like that was really like goofy though, because I think if they tried, I don't know, man.
I'll say this: I like you. I was like, have I forgotten most of this? Because I don't remember why they are here now. I don't
Right.
remember how they ended up where they are when they start this season.
Yeah.
And I thought that maybe they had lost their budget because they were in industrial areas instead of the town and stuff like that. But about episode 4, I thought it really picked up steam and then
Yeah.
went all the way in at the end.
Mhm.
And really loved that last episode
Yeah,
with
same.
the mind fuckery that was going on.
I did too. I was yelling at the screen a lot and being like, "Oh my God, you're so stupid. This is literally the entire challenge. How do you not get it?" But I like that they play with the audience's expectations and go, "Oh,
Yeah.
maybe this is what you think is going on, huh? Well, fuck you."
Yeah. Am I correct in? Did I hear this was based on a manga?
It is based on
Okay,
manga.
I'm
Yeah.
curious how closely it follows.
I am too. I have not read it, but I think I'm gonna pick it up because it would be really interesting to see.
Yeah.
Cool. Yep, gotta watch that one. I totally forgot it had come back.
Hmm.
Watched another weird one. Pretty sure this was Shudder. Dawn Breaks Behind These Eyes from Germany.
Hmm.
No. Let's see. How do they describe it? It's a couple spending eternity in a castle until reality kind of starts to shift and things get fairly weird, but then they get very normal with a very strange twist that you'll either love or hate. I thought it was interesting, and I really liked it at first, and by the end, I was kind of like, okay, this twist didn't quite pull quite where I thought it was or what it needed to go, but it's an interesting movie. I was not liking it too much until that big change happens, and then it's like, okay, let's keep with this. It's because it starts off painfully artsy.
Hmm.
I am sure there are a ton of people that watch this film and turn it off before the big shift. And I would say if you're at all interested in very unusual and interesting German horror films, this is a good one to check out.
Man,
Remind me what this is called again?
Dawn Breaks Behind These Eyes.
is it from this year?
I believe so.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
22, 21. Your mention there of the breakdown of previous seasons. Dean and I had slowed down on Cobra Kai. We watched the first 3 and then didn't watch till a while until like last week. We came back in on season 4. And boy, the breakdown of what you need to catch up, it's like half an episode long. Man, it's like, okay, good. We are fully caught up.
Yep. Yep. You do not have to rewatch anything for that. They are very on it for you.
I just want to remind the listener that there was a big pendulum shift in this episode. Eric went to see a Van Gogh art gallery exhibit, and Vanessa went to AEW wrestling.
It's
And
true.
that's how this show rolls.
And I watched a French and German horror film.
It's true. Everything's weird this year. What is going on 2023? Jeez.
Okay, so how about we take a break, and then when we come back, we are talking baby horror, or as I like to call it, horror.
New burp for baby from Tommy. You better watch out. If I cry, you'll have to burp me. So pass me on quickly, because each time I cry, I need a burping. But sometimes you get a soaking. Unlucky, Daddy, right in the face. Burp the baby from Tommy.
Hello?
Let's see who's called the Strange Eons radio hotline. Well, I promised that next time I was going to be super late. I was going to send you guys a voice thingy. So, okay, I'm running 10 minutes late, super unprofessional, feel pretty crummy about it. Woke up early. I made sure all my notes looked good. Everything was looking great. Had everything ready to go. And then I was like, wow, I am disgusting. And my hair is going in 3 different directions. And that's not okay. And so I was like, well, I have time to take literally a 5-minute shower. And I got out and it was a 10-minute shower. And so clean myself up, get out the door, and realize I have wasted yet another 5 minutes. My entire plan has gone out the window. And this is how Vanessa ends up being late to things. So I am driving a little above the speed limit, but I am going to be there fashionably late. I will see you guys soon, and I'm excited to talk about movies. All right.
If you'd like to call the Strange Eons radio hotline, dial 253-237-4266.
Nobody hangs up on me.
And we're back. Vanessa, this was your subgenre. Why babies?
Well, we're in a new year, a fresh new
Oh
year.
boy, I thought you might have a total different thing you were going to announce.
No, just new year. And father time dies, and there's new baby father time. I don't know. I don't know the mythos behind the whole baby new year, but here we are. I needed a topic, and this is where we landed. So, I'm excited to talk about. I don't know. I feel like I haven't gotten to look at a lot of specifically baby horror. So I chose the French film from 2007, Inside, also known as L'Intérieur. Also known as L'Intérieur. And
Oh my.
man,
It's a subtle film.
it's really, they really do things in small details. They don't throw anything in your face. Rotten Tomatoes has the critics at 83% and the audience at 75%. Budget of 2.5 million, but I read somewhere else on Wikipedia that it's actually 1.7 million euros, so I don't know. Worldwide box office of $792,000, 184 cents. I'm guessing this. I have IMDb Pro, okay? I'm getting really specific details. I don't know what they got in VOD, though. I suspect that that's where they made their money back. So, written and directed by a team, which I have actually talked about before for The Deep House, and that is Alexander Bustillo and Julian Maury. They both worked together on ABC's of Death, on the segment X is for Xylophone, on a film called Candisha, on The Deep House. Also, both directed Leatherface, and Julian Maury has 9 credits because he went out and did Le Vrai de Pizza, which looks like a very fun pizza movie.
How's that again?
Le Vrai de Pizza.
Okay.
I cannot promise that's how it's pronounced. Starring Alison Paradis as Sarah. She has 54 credits, lots of shorts, TV series stints, and films. Oh, God. You guys.
Almost
Forgot about the
forgot.
timer.
All right.
Remembered just in time.
Indeed. She has lots of credits. A variety of credits. Jesus. Beatrice Dalle plays La Femme. She has 66 credits, including Night on Earth, Lux Aeterna, Betty Blue, Time of the Wolf, ABCs of Death 2, and 6 episodes of a TV series called Inside, which is not this story. I don't
Confusing.
think. I was, yeah, very confusing. Very like, oh, all right, guys, the French love themselves a movie called Inside. So we start with the story of a couple driving along, and we have this like weird VO, which I thought was from the husband. I wasn't totally sure about finally having a baby and keeping it safe, and no one will take it. And then the car ends up in a violent car crash, and we reveal a very pregnant woman behind the wheel, kind of waking up covered in blood to see that her husband is dead. 4 months later, an even more very pregnant woman is getting some scans done on her stomach on Christmas Eve. The doctors and nurses around her are really excited for her, asking her, about the baby, and she's just not talking to them. She just does not care. Her mother arrives at the hospital and offers to drive her the next day to get her cesarean because the baby does not want to leave and she is ready for it to go. But she says her boss is going to take her instead. And her mother notes that she's relieved that Sarah no longer works on the front lines of war taking photos. I feel like this is a hint as to her ability to take care of herself that may or may not come into play later. Sarah just generally appears super detached from the people around her. She seems really angry at the world and possibly, it's not clear, but possibly unhappy with her pregnancy and having to go through this alone. So she meets up with her boss, who tells her how much she's missed. The city is apparently erupting in violence. There's a lot of break-ins, unrest, and he just misses having her around to take pictures of it. He drives her home, promising to go ahead and be the one to take her the next day to her appointment. We are at Christmas Eve, and so he is not the only one who wants her to actually stay with him. In fact, a lot of other people call and say, hey, why don't you, pregnant lady who's going through a lot of shit, come and stay with us for Christmas Eve? And she's like, hell no. I wonder if that will be important. She hears a knock at the door. She kind of settles in for a night on her own. Hears a knock at the door and does not open the door, looks through the peephole and sees the outline of a woman who is asking to use her phone. It's okay. And because her car is broken down, Sarah refuses to let her in and says that her husband is asleep inside. She lies, and the woman says, your husband isn't asleep. He's dead, Sarah. Yup. So this begins the movie in which there's this sort of scramble between Sarah and this strange woman. Sarah tries to get a photo of her, calls the police, shows the picture of the police. They're like, well, we can't do anything with this. It doesn't look like anything. They take off and they say, we'll be by later tonight to check in on you. And Sarah and this woman, the woman manages to get in. There's a lot of back and forth, mostly of them like poking each other with really sharp objects. And essentially the woman is trying to get into Sarah's stomach and take her baby.
God.
Yep.
Yeah.
Sarah manages to escape from this lady and spend most of the film in the bathroom. Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot of that. There's a lot of people who show up throughout the film. Hard to say what happens to them. Will Sarah and the baby survive? Will she defeat the strange black goth woman with a gap tooth? Will her boss show up and save her, or just think that the lady in there is her mom and have a nice Christmas Eve drink? Will there be a ridiculous body count as the film goes along? Who's to say? Thoughts? It's interesting because this film gets to a lot of people, and I think part of that is the low budget nature of it. It's handheld. I think they only have like one lens. It is not a deep lens, so everything feels a little flat and very rough. At one point, she uses her camera, and it's a 5D, and I was like, I wonder if that's what they shot this whole film on.
Probably.
I was like, making use of the two cameras he got, I guess. The reactions to the pain are super good. At one point, Sarah breaks a lamp over the side of the woman's head, and she genuinely is like, this sucks for like an hour. There's like a lot of time that just goes by. The woman's like, oh, my head. She kind of grabs it. She goes downstairs. She gets some ice. The woman is not like outside the bathroom the whole time. There's a lot of like, I'm going to wander over here and sit for a while. So I like how real it feels because of moments like that. It's also great by the time the second waves of cops show up to help, quote unquote, help Sarah. She just goes to her bed. She like gets out of the bathroom, goes to her bed, lays down, and just takes a nap. And you're kind of like, I get it. This is an exhausting film. I'm there with you. You know what? There's still somebody in there who's literally trying to rip your stomach out, but I would too, it's a tough night. Also, everyone's mother in this film is very young and very beautiful. I had no clue who was supposedly like apparently the lady who's in the house is an old woman, but she looks like 25. The French idea of beauty is very skewed because I was like, she's her mom? I thought she was like her sister age, maybe, or the same age, maybe like a twin. I don't know. But no, apparently she's an old, disgusting woman who is in God just wants her baby. Film is pretty grim. A lot of gore.
A lot of blood.
A lot of blood. A lot of blood. I felt like it didn't bother me as much, and I don't know if that's because I'm a chick and I know all about like what C-sections are, and so when the stomach is attacked with some scissors, you're just like, multiple times, by the way. I'm not giving anything away. This is on the cover of the poster.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I was like, well, that's kind of normal. That's kind of what happens.
Generally, not in your own bathroom
Well,
or bedroom. There's usually medical personnel around.
At home births. I don't know what they get up
I
to
don't
in
think
there.
they do cesareans at home usually.
I did really like the river of blood going down the stairs near the end of the film.
geez,
That was extremely good. One major complaint, why do cats always have to die in horror films but dogs get to live? That I do not understand, and I will not like it. Wikipedia and I also heavily disagree on what happens in the end. So if you read the Wikipedia ending, I'm not sure about that. Not a lot of trivia for this movie. Tagline: Don't let her inside.
Oh.
Movie was shot in chronological order. The number on the side of her house is 666. This was part of the French extreme wave, aka New French Extremity. Yeah, they remade it. They remade it, and they thought they were going to get the guy from Rec to do it, and they did not. Instead, they got a other Spanish director who didn't have a lot under his belt, and the directors of this were like, "We're not going to really get involved in that. Thanks, we're good, bye." And so they made this film remade it in 2018, and it went straight to VOD. Did not have a theater run. So there we go.
Boom.
Did you see anything about the remake? I didn't even know it was made. Is it as awful
I watched
as it
a trailer. I watched a trailer and it looked, I don't know, fine.
Fine. Okay.
I'm not convinced that it has the same ending. So
Yeah, probably not.
I have not seen this movie. Just you describing this is the reason I have not seen it.
Sure.
I don't know why this bothers me so much more than anything. Probably because of my weird home invasion thing that I
Yeah.
also don't like
I was
thinking about.
thinking about you with that. I was like, this is a very home invasion movie that Kelly
Yes.
would not dig.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you liked it.
I thought it actually wasn't too bad. I guess I was expecting something even worse than what I got. So watching it, I was like, oh yeah, I mean that's gross, but it could be worse. So,
The mental image I get of like a butcher knife sliding into a pregnant belly, that really makes me uncomfortable.
interesting. Yeah. There's a scissors moment in there, and I was like, huh. Well, I mean, and it's weird because they keep going this weird CGI baby who's like experiencing it, and I was like, I don't know what the fuck this is.
What?
Yeah,
we
they
get
Yeah,
we
that
get
was a
an
mistake.
inside
Yeah.
view.
Yeah, we get the
Very
POV
weird.
of the baby being like, let me out. He's like pushing his little hands on the stomach at one point, like banging away. I was like,
Scissors come at him. He's like, "Whoa!"
yeah, totally. Yeah, like there's like a point where something goes in there and he's like, oh, backs up a little. It was real weird. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you ready?
Next
Yeah,
up, Martyrs.
I'm gonna do mine now. Setting the egg timer for 10 minutes. And here I go. I
Mhm.
chose poorly.
Really?
I chose Nightmare on Elm Street 5, The
Oh.
Dream Child.
His mother was a God-fearing woman. His birth was an unspeakable horror.
Please don't let him do that!
His life and death have been one incredible nightmare. But now all that is going to change because Freddy wants to become a daddy.
Want to make babies?
What's wrong with me? You're just a little pregnant.
Even if he has to adopt.
Do unborn babies dream?
When it comes to chills.
It happened while I was awake.
When it comes to screams.
The party just start.
When it comes to pure terror.
Bon appetit.
No one delivers like Freddy.
Better buckle up.
All right, Krueger. This time it's for keeps.
A Nightmare on Elm Street 5. The Dream Child.
It's a boy.
When it comes to terror, remember, Freddy knows best.
Okay. Budget of $8 million. Box office of $22 million.
Oh, it did good.
Rotten Tomatoes critics have it at 30%. The audience is like, you guys don't know what you're talking about. This is a solid 31%. I will come out right now and say, I think both of these are very generous.
Yes,
Oh,
I agree.
no. Oof.
Directed by Stephen Hopkins, who has 34 credits. Lots of television. He directed Predator 2, Lost in Space, and the Dark Tower pilot from Amazon, which I have heard is quite good. Written by Leslie Boehm, who has 17 writing credits, including Dante's Peak and Daylight. It also has our buddy John Skipp and his ex-writing partner, Craig Spector. They have story by credits in this. It stars Robert Englund, 171 credits, including Nightmare on Elm Street 1 through 170, and also Stranger Things last season. And Lisa Wilcox, who has 68 credits, reprising her role as Alice in Nightmare on Elm Street 4. She was also in Watchers 4 and Red Hollow. You have both seen this movie?
Yes.
No.
No. Oh. Well, let me save you.
Yeah. Yeah. I did a thing where I watched all of them in order about 10 years ago. Man, this one stuck with me like, oh my God.
Okay. This starts as every Nightmare movie does with an extended dream sequence. This time delivering a ton of exposition. We meet Amanda Krueger, who is a nun working in an insane asylum, who's then accidentally locked in a violent ward where everyone just apparently walks around doing whatever the fuck they want. They're not in rooms or anything. And what they really want to do that night is rape Amanda Krueger. We also see Robert Englund without his makeup. He's one of the inmates, and it's hard not to just assume that he must be the father of Freddy Krueger since he looks just like him. It doesn't really matter because everyone takes a turn with Amanda. Then our protagonist is introduced, Alice. She wakes up from this nightmare, and we are told that this is about a year after the events of Nightmare 4, which I cannot remember at all. And Alice and her boyfriend Dan are now living a lovely life with no sign of Freddy Krueger.
Yeah.
But Alice is now having nightmares about this nun. And finally, we see Amanda Krueger wheeled into a hospital room where she dies giving birth to a baby Freddy, who is pretty horrifying. The baby comes out looking just like a baby version of Freddy Krueger. And then it fights free of the doctor and escapes.
The baby does?
Yes.
Pre-burned.
He is pre-burned. He is already... And that's because, Vanessa, this is also a dream.
Oh.
So Alice tries to follow the baby and finds herself in a boiler room. Surprise, surprise. And then she finds the baby, which rapidly grows into an adult Freddy Krueger. It's showtime, bitch.
Oh.
He says bitch a number of times in this. Seems
Fantastic.
like come up with something better than that. He's about to kill her when the spirit of Amanda shows up and saves Alice. Amanda shows up in her nun outfit and everything. And for some reason, Amanda is able to be a ghost in the dreams and in the living world. Does not make a ton of sense.
Sure.
Dream
so
logic.
Alice calls her boyfriend to tell him that Freddy's back, and he rushes to be at her side, but falls asleep, of course, and is killed right in front of Amanda. or I mean, right in front of Alice. And Alice is very distraught. She's taken to a hospital where we find out that she is pregnant now with Dan's child. And while she's recovering in the hospital, a very creepy looking kid befriends her and admits to her that he dreams of a bad man and really all the nightmare tropes that we've totally not gotten tired of by now.
I'm sure.
Also, of course, all of Alice's friends are starting to get killed in their dreams as well. And there's only one fairly interesting moment when one of her friends, who's a comic book artist, realizes he has a dream power, which kind of, is a nod back to the Dream Warriors and all that. And he becomes like a superhero in his dream. And it doesn't matter because Freddy kills him as well by turning him into a literal comic and then using his knife fingers to slice him up.
Sure.
This turns the plot kind of turns into the end of Dream Warriors again, where one of the friends is going to the abandoned asylum now to free the spirit of Amanda Kruger this time. In Dream Warriors, it was Nancy's dad trying to find the bones of Freddy so they could, get rid of him that way. Alice is battling Freddy with the help of the young kid she met in the hospital and who we immediately realized was the spirit of her unborn child. But she didn't realize because in this movie, she is made to be very, very stupid. This movie is absolute garbage. I'm very angry. Just the fact that it took me this long to make these notes. Remember how I told you guys start valuing your time? I was just like, I was really rage noting. There's some pretty bad MC Escher-like effects going on in her dreams. And she's about to be killed by Freddy when the kid, who is named Jacob, he absorbs Freddy into himself. And then we get this horrifying Freddy makeup on an already very ugly child.
Oh.
And the entire thing just made me go, yeah, I fucking hate kids. Gross. So we all know what happens. Freddy is defeated once and for all, never to be seen again. Yay, because this franchise sucks. There is another movie after this, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
Now, there is stuff I think that could have been done in this franchise that would have saved it and made it one of the coolest franchises ever.
Oh, yeah.
They could have built up the mythos of the dream world and Freddy and all of that shit, but it's completely wasted because movie to movie, they just didn't know what to do with this guy. Yeah. I think this series could do with one of those overhauls that kicks everything out except for maybe episode 1 and 3, and then we bring back Nancy to have to face Freddy, played by Robert Englund still, an old Freddy who's now like the Lord of the Dream World or something like that. I think that this could be a really neat reboot of this, but I don't know what to do with this thing. It's just he's such a great villain, and they totally ruined him by just giving him one-line jokes or the whole thing.
Yeah.
All right, you guys, taglines on this. Roll over, Beethoven. It's Freddy's fifth.
Oh no.
Jesus.
That's very inventive.
Trivia. Stephen King and comic book writer Frank Miller were both offered the job of writing and directing this movie. The laughter heard at the end of this movie, right before the credits roll, is, for some reason, the clip of Vincent Price laughing from the Michael Jackson song Thriller.
Okay.
I think it's supposed to be Freddy laughing. I'm not sure if they couldn't get Robert Englund to come in and laugh.
They couldn't use it from any of the previous 4 movies.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on.
Wow.
Just another thing to make me roll my eyes in anger at this. The idea of focusing the story around children and birth was hatched by executive producer Sarah Risher, who was a new mother at the time and constantly had her child and its well-being on her mind. The crew decided to build off of this because they felt the teenagers and 20-somethings who were fans of the original film were beginning to reach the age where they were likely thinking about settling down and having families. This, incorporating elements of family and birth into the film, would keep would keep the franchise relevant and special for fans of earlier entries.
Cool.
Swing and a miss.
Virtually nothing of the screenplay by John Skip and Craig Spector made it into the film. According to Skip, he said basically only the phrase, "it's a boy," was retained. And yet that's obviously him joking because they get a story by credit. So This came out in 1989. This was a banner year for shit franchise installments.
Yeah.
There was this steaming pile. There was also Friday the 13th, Part 8, Jason Takes Manhattan, and Halloween 5, The Revenge of Michael Myers.
Woofda.
This film was so reviled by fans of the franchise that it was decided to kill off Freddy Krueger in what would be the next and final Elm Street film, Freddy's Dead, The Final Nightmare. Ironically, the latter film would go on to become even more hated than this one.
Yeah.
So that's what's going on with this franchise. This film sucks balls, and I hated it.
Now, here's a follow-up question. Do you think literally any film you would have watched for this topic you would have hated, though?
No, this film is so, this topic is so rife with great examples. I just didn't know exactly. I tried something called, oh, shoot, I can't remember what it was called now. I sent you guys a picture of a crab spider attacking a guy, and you could see the hand holding the puppet and all that.
Oh, yeah.
Because I thought there was going to be a mutant baby in it. I watched this shit movie, and there was no baby.
Oh, that is a huge bummer.
No, I don't like babies, but I could have done Village of the Damned or something
Right.
like that. A movie that I already knew I liked. Even The Omen. But I wanted to try something I hadn't seen, and that's what I get.
I like how it keeps ticking. Is it like, oh, you didn't want to stop then? Let me start a timer for you again.
60 minutes on the clock.
Oh,
Good.
shit.
Okay.
No, I'll do 10 minutes on this. Thanks. I don't need 60.
All right, Eric. I'm setting the egg timer. 10 minutes and go.
Alrighty. So, this is, I'll just say what I'm doing here. 1979's Prophecy.
It is not the offspring of witchcraft or Satan. It was created by man. It will grow to be 15 feet tall. It will have huge eyes, webbed hands, hooked claws. It will walk upright. And it will mindlessly, mercilessly kill every living thing it meets. Prophecy.
Which for me was kind of a seminal horror experience as a kid. I must have seen it on TV or something, and just like, oh my God, what is this? I never really watched it again. And I don't know if this was a mistake or not to revisit it, but anyways, Rotten Tomatoes has it at 33 from critics and 36 from crowds. So, not dissimilar to yours, Kelly. But it had a budget of 12 million and a box office of 18.5. So it did just fine. The part that gets me is why this movie isn't better than it is. I'll tell you the writer and director here. The director was John Frankenheimer.
Never heard of the bum.
He's done little things like Manchurian Candidate, 7 Days in May, Black Sunday, as featured in episode 181.
Whoa.
Year of the Gun. This is not a strong thing for him, but Island of Dr. Moreau with Val Kilmer. And Ronin, which is an okay movie with one of the great car chase scenes. And written by David Seltzer, who wrote The Omen, the original Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. He also wrote a novelization of the film, published under the tagline A Story of Unrelenting Terror. So these are two powerhouse talents. They're making good stuff. And at a time period where they were both making good stuff. So this is definitely a disappointment if you go on the talent coming out of it. Starring Talia Shire, who was in a few films. Godfather 1, 2, and 3. The Dunwich Horror, 1970.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Probably not one of her most things. And she was also in 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 of Rocky as Adrian.
Oh, okay. Adrian.
And I Heart Huckabees. Still working today. 72 credits with 2 upcoming films, including the very talked about uncompleted Coppola's Megalopolis. Robert Foxworth He did the voice for Ratchet in Transformers movie. He's in Reapers, tons of TV shows, and Damien Omen 2 with 102 credits. Armand Asante with lots of TV. Little Darlings, Private Benjamin, Jack the Ripper, Hoffa, Gotti, 140 credits with 12 in the work. Richard Dysart, might know from The Thing, Truman, Wall Street, Pale Rider, Being There, and The Smurfs. And Victoria Racimo, who's in Ernest Goes to Camp, Falcon Crest, and The Day of the Dolphin, as mentioned many times on this show.
Pa loves Fa.
That's the one. So the movie starts off with a fairly interesting credits and weird credit thing with the sounds of somebody breathing. Eventually you realize I think that's a dog breathing, and there's flashlights. But then when they finally get a reveal, it's like a pack of dogs and a bunch of people with flashlights. Then they move to, oh shit, they're going to kill the dog in this one. Falls off a cliff. And then people go down trying to rescue the dog who's hanging on his leash, and they all fall and die.
See, they try to rescue it.
However, later on in the movie, the dog comes trotting back into camp.
See?
Talia she plays a cello in the symphony, and she's pregnant, but her husband doesn't really want kids, so she doesn't know what she's going to do and hasn't told him yet.
Uh-oh.
This is actually a plot point that comes match. Then we get into pure 70s glory of the Hollywood classic white savior doctor going to the rough parts of Washington, D.C. and getting all upset about the landlords and how he's going to defend all these people. And somehow, I'm not entirely certain, that he accepts a job with the EPA to go into a forest and investigate the legal thing between the logging company and the natives living there. Like, what are his qualifications for that? It really wasn't more than the guy saying, I think you'd be perfect for this job. I don't know why, but I think you would be. And that's where you happily learn that the dog has survived. And for some reason, which is barely used, she brings her cello with her. It's this backwoods thing where they're going, where they fly in and they bring the cello out and tie it to the top of a truck. And also, like, this is a weird extra to throw in here for no reason.
I hope that was Talia making, a decision. I'd like her to be a cellist, and she wants to bring this on, Did I tell you my brother was Francis Ford Coppola? We can make this happen, right?
Good. All right. Thanks. One of the weird moments is you've got, what's his name? Armand Asante, the Italian Irishman, as the leader and chief of the Native American tribe.
I forgot about that.
God.
Yeah.
So, anyways, moving on. They also discover as they're going to their spot in the lake where they're going, and somehow our cello seems to have gotten there. I don't know how, but they take a boat in, but they see a giant fish in the lake. Could this be an indication of something to come? They get attacked by a raccoon. Could this be an indication of stuff that's to come? So there's a lot of back and forth about what's going on between the tribe and the logging company. And about an hour in, you see the first giant creature, mutant bear, which doesn't really resemble the critter that's on the poster. That actually was a change from Frankenheimer, where they did something, I guess, that looked very much like that. And he said, "Let's make it more bear looking." I'm guessing to tie in maybe to, well, this should be the evolution of something that's in the forest, maybe. I don't know. But I think it was a mistake. I think it would have been cooler to just have it be this crazy ass looking thing. But, and here we got the inspiration for a scene from, I think, Friday the 13th, part 7. Where
the sleeping bag.
Yep, a sleeping bag death, where the bear first appears a bunch of backpackers and throws one of the kids against a rock in this case, and there's no blood. This is a PG film, but the feathers fly everywhere. Flash forward to 1989, Jason grabs one, and it's much more grim.
It is also, it's a kid, right? In the sleeping bag, yeah.
Mm-hmm. I think they're different colors though. This one was yellow. I think that one's red. but I don't remember for sure.
The sleeping bag, I hope, is what you mean.
Yeah. Or maybe it was just been right after it was done in Jason's. And here's where we get they battle trying to figure out what this thing is, and here's where you get the kids. They're out investigating what happened because the cops show up, and even though this is very obviously some kind of an animal attack, they immediately arrest a whole lot of the Native Americans and to bring them in. And so the doctor and his wife go to investigate the crime scene. And while she's there, she finds there's a trap along the river. She goes over there, and there's 2 babies from this obvious giant bear mutant thing. One alive, one dead.
Uh-oh.
Like, we have to keep it alive. It's like, really? I don't think you do. But that begins the charge towards the end of the movie of what is going to happen. Who knows? What will he do when he learns his wife is pregnant? Will the paper mill be responsible for the problems going on? And will the mutant bear be stopped? On that note, I'm going to do a little bit of a spoiler where in the end, when the bear finally kind of gets sort of taken out, I love what they do, where he stabs the bear a bunch, the bear falls into the lake, and a good 70% of horror movies are going to end there. No, he jumps into the lake on top of the bear and continues to just stab it. Like, there you go.
Wow. Yes, exactly. Don't stop until it's pulp. Different pieces of pulp.
Taglines. The creeping, crawling, dirty death, which is weird because it doesn't creep or crawl. It's very big and very obvious. She lives. Don't move. Don't breathe. She will find you.
Oh.
Out there in a mindless, merciless creature of destruction, she will find you. Not surprisingly, the music has elements of Jaws to it in certain scenes. It's a good film. It's not great. It suffers a little bit from the problem. I had no problem people throwing their politics into films. Whether I agree, disagree, doesn't matter. But make it work into the story. Don't just say, well, here's my point about this, and here's my point about this. Like, I would have gotten the strong environmental stuff by the logging company being the bad guy here. You're good. But it was a little over the top, but that's all right, you know. Let's see. Anything real interesting? I do have one other note I would like to show. This was one of the first films filmed in British Columbia in 1978.
Wow.
And kind of marked the beginning of the Hollywood North, which would lead to the destruction of filmmaking in Washington State and a lot of other stuff. So this was one of the ones that started that good times rolling.
I have a follow-up question for you.
Sure.
Why is it called Prophecy?
No idea.
Oh, okay.
Well, there's a little hint to the Native Americans have got a prophecy that I guess could be read into what is happening here. I kind of like this movie. I had a different reaction to it on second viewing as an adult. I liked it a lot more.
Oh, cool.
But it was one of those things when I saw the Frankenheimer name, I was like, oh man, this is going to be amazing. What was I thinking? And then it was like, oh, it was fun, but
yeah, it could have been a lot more. It I don't know if studio interference or Frankenheimer was starting. I don't know what his history was, if he was starting the cocaine craze early.
Right.
But it just seemed a lot of, even with him in charge, the shot choices, the things were just very basic.
Kind of bland, yeah.
So
this is the one where the bear is chasing him in the water, right? It's getting closer and closer at the end in the water. Yeah. The mutant baby bear is really bad looking. The effects are just really bad in this.
Yeah. It's funny to watch when he's chasing him in the woods because it's very obvious that they put the bear on something with rollers on a dolly or something,
Right.
or just pulling it through the woods and pulling it flat. I mean, it's not like they even tried to add some up and down movement. It's just like, bear on roller skates.
It's not even as good as like the darkness in
right.
the Never-Ending Story, you know, which is obviously also just being pulled straight through. This was something I wanted to get into as a possible subgenre was eco horror. You
Oh,
know, in
yeah.
the 70s, that was a big thing. We are screwing up the environment. And,
Mhm.
you know, I think that was behind what was going on in Piranha, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
And
some of them were
Mhm.
really well handled and really fun to watch,
yeah,
and some were just like, "Here's my
prophecy.
club. Let me hit you over the head with it a few times." It's like, "Hey, you know what? What you're saying doesn't bother me, but I got it. I'm good." Within
Right.
like 2 scenes in.
Right. I forgot about
The,
Armand Asante being
Yeah.
the chief of the Indian tribe.
Yes. Yep. So it's fun. It's not a bad movie. It's out by Shout Factory, so you know it's got at least that level of quality to it. But yeah, it would have been all right staying as my memory of this weird, odd film
Sure.
I'd seen when I was a little kid.
Sure.
When you said you were going to do prophecy, I thought you meant the prophecy.
Oh,
So I was
yeah.
like, when is he going to talk about Christopher Walken? Where are the angels?
I don't
Oh,
think there's
never
a baby
mind.
in that one. You would
No, I
think
couldn't
so?
remember.
Maybe in one of
Well,
the sequels.
yeah, I don't know. I do like that movie.
Yeah, the first
Okay,
one's good.
well, so that means it is my choice for the next subgenre.
Yes.
I'm springing this on you guys too.
All right, let's
Okay.
see what we
I
got here.
haven't mentioned it before, and I didn't get an okay to do this, but this is what we're doing. Michael Crichton film.
Oh,
Now it can be him directing or written. You know, if you choose Jurassic Park, I'll probably say, and I'm looking right at you, Vanessa.
I
I'll
wasn't even
probably
thinking about
say,
it.
come on now.
I wasn't even thinking about it, though now I am.
He's got something like 68 credits on IMDb between his
So it
his
can be
screenplays.
any kind of involvement he had with it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, also, if you choose like an episode of ER, I will also cry foul. But
At least do 3 episodes.
Yeah. Make it a package deal.
but you know, he was always kind of a near futurist, and he's got some sci-fi adjacent and horror type stuff. So I think
Nice.
that'd be a fun one.
Yeah, that would be.
Nice. I like that.
All right. This is the part where we thank everybody for participating in the Value for Value model, for liking and sharing posts, for calling in on our hotline, which is 253-237-4266. That's 253-237-4266. Leave us a message. Let us know if we can play it on the air. We played a couple on the last episode that I thought were fun.
I hope Mike is okay. That wasn't his last message to the world.
I've gotten text since. I believe
good.
he's fine.
Good. And that should be it, right, Eric? Did you have anything else you wanted to add? Every time I'm about to say goodbye, you say, and.
Yeah, I always pull something out. I would just say make sure, come on by on our social media stuff, interact with us, leave your questions, comments. If you've got ideas, like, did you hear the mistake we made on the last episode?
Did I?
What?
No.
Zardoz?
Oh, is that not
2923.
2923?
Oh, we got time still.
Like, God damn.
Well, okay, we'll come back to it in 900 years then.
Yeah. No, thanks for letting us know. I'm not insulted when we're corrected. I don't think we're freaking perfect by any stretch of the imagination.
It's just irritating because I saw so many Facebook posts of other people talking about Zardoz being this year. So,
Well, listen, I've only seen it once when I was about 11, and I thought it was the biggest hurt I'd ever seen. So I saw the same meme and just believed it.
Yep.
Sure, why not?
This is how fake news
There you go.
travels,
There it
you
is.
We
guys.
do it all.
Okay, so that's it. We're back in 7 short days when we're talking Crichton retrospective.
Yes.
Cool.
Transportation and other considerations for Strange Eons Radio, produced by Pan Am Airlines. When you think of traveling, think of Pan Am. You can't beat the experience. Guests of Strange Eons Radio stay at Econo Lodge Everett. It's an easy stop on the road, if you know what we mean. Strange Eons Radio is recorded live in front of a studio audience. If you enjoyed this episode, please consider leaving us a positive review on your favorite podcast app. Sit, Ubu, sit.
New year and Father Time dies and there's new baby Father Time. I don't know. I don't know the mythos behind the whole baby New Year.